Welcome to Talk Purpose and Truth, shifting you into higher consciousness. A show that elevates, uplifts, and encourages listeners to grow, heal, awaken, and evolve. Eden and Kim include bold topics, interviews with inspiring guests, experts, and celebrities, intuitive readings, channeled messages, mental health awareness, and hot topics to expand your awareness.
Welcome back to Talk Purpose and Truth. It's Kim and Eden. Hello, Eden.
Hi. How are you?
I'm excited today.
Yeah.
So we have a very special guest, a very special episode, and many of you listeners, gosh, it's going to be 5 years this year. Many of you know that Eden and I are very deep, but yet we also like to watch reality shows and learn about life and people, and I just really enjoy doing that. And so one of our favorites is the Golden Bachelor. And that was just recently aired and did extremely well. And everyone around the world was talking about it. And we got so lucky as to have Leslie Fhima, the runner-up, on the show. And I know she impacted a lot of people because of her down-to-earth nature and because she just comes across so love. And like, I'm like getting choked up saying that.
Aww.
Like I feel her energy. Like she just
Yeah.
has a very love energy that radiates out. And so I feel like a lot of people watch her and feel like she's their friend and feel a lot of comfort, like they see themselves in her. And so I felt like both of us talked about it and we related to her in a big way. And so let me just tell you about her before we welcome her on. She is a 10-time marathon finisher and personal trainer, former national aerobics champion and champion figure skater. She is also a retreat leader. I noticed she's doing a retreat in Costa Rica coming up. That's totally up my alley. And of course, she was recently one of the stars of the Golden Bachelor. So welcome, Leslie.
Thank you. It's so fun to be here.
Oh,
yeah, we're excited.
Yeah. And I want to just kind of say thank you to we're good friends with Vicky and we know Bobby too, your cousin. And so we got connected through Vicky. And I just wanted to say thank you, kind of shout out to Vicky for connecting us.
Love you, Vicky.
Vicky and I are sisters from a different mom. We always, we're obviously she's married my first cousin, but we're very good friends. We always have been. And I'm so lucky she's in my life.
I feel that same way. When I met her, it was like immediate.
Oh, I know. She's amazing.
Yeah. Her and I have a birthday one day apart. So we're Libra sisters.
Yeah. Okay. So how we know you from being on the Golden Bachelor, the very first season. So it's iconic. And it was such a big success, I believe. And, we want to know, though, how did you get on the show? How did you start that? But we also want to know at some point during the interview, we want to ask, because you're more than just that, than just one of the stars of the Golden Bachelor. And we want to make sure that we talk about personal things with you as well. But we're going to start off with, how did you start? How did you get on that show?
Well, I'm part of Bachelor Nation, watched since Trista, who I adore, and she's literally the person that got me interested in watching the show. And now we're friends, which is like,
oh, really?
That's
so cool.
But basically, it was last February, so literally a year ago. I had come home from I was in Arizona at my client's 90th birthday party, and long-time client, almost like a mother to me. Anyways, I came home from the birthday party and I was just catching up on the show because I record it. And then at the end, it says, if you know of someone or if you're a senior looking for love, apply for the Golden Bachelor. And I literally took my phone as I was watching the show and I applied online on my phone.
Like right away?
It's just real.
I mean, and I'm like, I have my glasses on. I'm like, I'm trying to read and add pictures. I'm like, I don't know what pictures. Like, I literally applied on my phone, literally, because then I have to backtrack a little bit. It was before COVID. I was watching The Bachelor with my daughter right here in my couch. And she turned to me, and I forgot what season it was or who was on. And she turned to me, she goes, Mom, you'd be so good on the show. And I'd be like, but they're 25, like,
Yeah.
she goes, I know, but they should do a show like this for your age. And I have said this before, and it is just because it's so funny. I said, for my age, oh, right. Who wants to see old people kissing in a hot tub? And then, fast forward all these years and I'm kissing in a hot tub.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
yeah. So my daughter came up with the idea first. I can attest to that.
That's crazy.
And so
Manifestation, she manifested it.
she did. And then when she's a believer, by the way. So when I saw that, I'm like, I can't believe, did they hear Chloe? Like, she must have put it out in the universe. And so that was like, say, a Tuesday, okay? Because, I had to catch up. I got home late on Monday, catching up Tuesday. And Friday, I'm at a basketball game, Timberwolves. I love basketball. I love the Timberwolves. And hometown girl, they're doing really good this year. Anyway,
I wouldn't know.
and I have my phone in my lap, and all of a sudden I get this random text message from a number I don't know. And it said, Leslie, we got your application for the Golden Bachelor. Could you talk tomorrow? And I was with my friend Ron, who I have a lot of male friends, and I was with my friend Ron, and I'm like, do you think this is spam? Do you think this is a joke? And he looked at it, and he looked at me and is like, I don't know, it seems real to me. And I'm like, oh my God. So that was how, yeah. And then I kept going.
Wow.
Probably
so
surreal.
Are you someone who, like, it reminds me of me because I do that. Like, if I come up with an idea, or if I have inspired action, I just do it like right then and there.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're like
I'm not a procrastinator. I don't wait on things.
Right.
I just do it. I don't think sometimes, which is not a good thing, but I'll just do it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
that's
if I was
awesome.
dating somebody, if I had a boyfriend, if I was in a relationship, I obviously wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. So
stars were aligned.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us more. We want to know, because of course we watch, and some of the things that we wonder and our listeners wonder are, what does it feel like to be in love with and have to date someone who's also dating other people in front of you, and just what was the overall experience and feeling like, especially for someone like you're very empathetic, I can tell, intuitive. And so it must be even stronger for you. So what was that like?
Well, going into it, you don't know. When I saw Gary on TV, when they announced him, that's all I knew. I didn't dive into the internet looking at things. I didn't listen to him on a podcast. I guess he did a podcast before the show and all that. I didn't. I wanted to be completely, organic with the experience. I didn't want to know anything about him. I saw that he was handsome, and I knew that he liked pickleball and liked sports, and that seemed to align with what, who I am. But that's all I knew. So I didn't know how I was going to feel with him. And but the more I, got to be around him, the more I really liked him. And then our one-on-one date, really, I had such an amazing time. We had the best time ATVing, and that was the day where I was like, I really like this guy. And so there was one other date after mine, Faith's. And, again, I love all the women in the house. I mean, they were all my friends and still are all my friends. So it was a little hard, I'm sure it was hard for Ellen to see me go on a date with them when she had a date the week before. And then obviously it was hard for me to see Faith, because I know that Faith's feelings are really strong for him. And, it was hard. I had a hard day that day, only because it kind of brought up some old past relationships problems for me, not being the only person in a relationship. And so it was a hard day for me. And, I do wear my heart on my sleeve, and And then I remember the next day was a rose ceremony, but we had a cocktail party in the daytime first. And that was the day that Nancy went home because of her foot and everything. So they cut it short, and I was the only person that didn't get to talk with Gary. And that, even though I had a rose, I wanted to just talk to him, and like we just had this date, and now I can't talk to him, you know. So that whole thing was hard. And you know, it's hard. I mean, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be, to be honest, because on
Yeah.
the other part of me, even though I wear my heart on my sleeve and I'm sensitive and all that, I am a strong person and I've been through a lot. And so I'm like, I can do this, you know, but your emotions get the best of you, and you're a little sleep deprived and deprived of, you know, the outside world a little bit. So you're thinking constantly about your relationship, your time with him, the time with the girls and all that stuff. So yeah, it was hard.
This made me think of another question that I've always wondered. And when you talk about the cocktail parties, is it true they last all night?
Well, the first one, the first one lasted all night because there's
Okay,
20
there's so
women.
many. Yeah.
Yeah, and he talks to everyone,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
it's a long night. And we were troopers. We did it. We got back
Yeah.
to the hotel, you know, at 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning. I don't even remember, but we did
So
it.
the rose ceremony is really during in the next day then. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, the sun was up definitely,
wow.
but
Wow.
most of the other ones didn't go all night like that. And that's
Yeah.
why a couple times we had like the cocktail hour in the daytime and then the rose ceremony at night. So that was great because then it was a lot, you know, shorter than standing all night or being all night in your dress and shoes and all that stuff. So that was good. But
Oh,
yeah,
so
yeah.
interesting. And
So do
how,
you feel,
yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Who's
no,
first? Who's first? We're so excited.
you go. Kim,
I
you go
feel so
ahead.
loved.
I was just going to say, do you feel that there was a deeper purpose of why you did this? Like, do you feel like there's a reason it didn't work the way that maybe you thought it would, but also you were meant to do this to impact so many people because of who you are? Like, what do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's all like hindsight because when you're in it, you're just in it. You know, my intentions were I was falling in love with him and I wanted to be with him. You know, I wasn't doing it for Instagram followers or fame or money or anything like that. You know, I really just because if I hadn't felt those feelings, I would have probably self-eliminated because I wouldn't want to take up a spot for another woman that had those feelings for him. So, I mean, I would feel guilty doing that, you know, but I really I fell hard. And so, um, my breakup on national TV in front of millions of people was difficult to watch back.
Mhm.
Um, you know, some people would, you know, be on Facebook or social media going, you should have been stronger. Why did you let yourself go? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? I'm like, okay, well, in real life, if you fell for somebody and you thought that he was falling for you, and then he broke up with you saying that he fell in love with someone else, you wouldn't go, okay, all right. You
Mhm.
know, I was just living it. And a lot of times you don't think about the cameras that are there. You don't think about the people that are going to watch the show. You're in it, you know? And I wanted to really be in it. I didn't want anything, you know, outside peripheral stuff. I wanted just to
Yeah,
focus what I was doing. And I felt like I did that, you
you
know?
sure did. And I think we all felt
Mhm.
it. We felt it for you. We
Yeah.
felt like your pain. At least I
Yeah.
did. um,
Mhm.
when you said you watched, it was hard to watch back that breakup part. I just imagined where you tried to imagine where you were when you watched it. Were you by yourself? Or were you actually at after the rose um,
No,
night?
I was in front of millions of people at the finale.
So you actually watched it at the AFTR. So it was that. So it is what it looks like.
That's the
So
first time I saw that.
you see it at the same time in real time that everybody else sees it for the
Yeah.
first time.
Mhm.
Wow. And
Mhm.
how do you hold back those emotions? Or you don't hold back.
hard because I didn't want to wreck the beautiful makeup that took an hour and a half to do. No, it was, well, I'm going to tell you something. I cried a lot that night that he broke up with me.
Mhm.
I cried myself to sleep. I cried in the morning. I had a 3-hour drive from the resort to the airport. I cried there. I cried in the airplane. I cried when I got home. My brother literally had to like pick me up at the airport and put me to bed. I probably didn't eat for a week. I cried for a week. So I shed a lot of tears, and I was
Okay.
done
So
with tears for
so
me.
yeah, so when it happened is when you had most of your
Yeah.
emotions come out, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was hard to watch and it
Mhm.
did bring back emotions, but
Yeah.
as far as crying over that again, I
Mm.
was like, I'm not shedding.
Uh,
I don't want to shed any more tears right now.
okay.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
time passed, so you were in a different place too.
Time passed. I mean, yeah, it was a while. And I had such amazing support from my family and my friends. And getting back to, work was hard because everyone thinks I won, and I couldn't say anything,
Oh, so hard.
And so yeah, but yeah, it was good, but it was very it enlightened me in a lot of different ways. For one, I realized that, Gary wasn't exactly fit in the mold that I would want normally. And I love the fact that I loved him and fell in love with him, even though he wasn't the perfect that I keep thinking is for me, that I realized that I can, fall in love with someone that, I have to give up some things, I mean, they may not want to go snowboarding with me or, go to Broadway shows with me or do these things that I love to do. They don't have to. As long as I want to just grow old with somebody now at 65. Back, I could say a couple years ago, I'm still wanting that perfect guy and I don't need that. So this show really helped me get over that, like Leslie, just you want a guy that appreciates you, that's not going to cheat on you, that loves you for who you are, that makes you laugh, loves your family, and loves your dog. Like that's all I want, really,
That's good
Yeah.
advice for everyone listening. Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And I feel like doing the show also, I think triggered you in a lot of ways. Just because we could talk about what we did together, right?
Yeah.
You and I.
Of
Well,
course.
so we did a reading. If for any new listeners, I'm a medium. So I got an opportunity to meet with Leslie one-on-one, and we did a reading. And it, for me, felt very healing for you. But I know, so because I know some of this, I know I can imagine that the show might have brought up or triggered some of the old traumas for
Yeah,
you.
it did.
Can you talk about that?
Well, I mean, my father, I don't want to cry, but my dad took me to school one day and I took a driver's test and I failed and dropped me off and said, I'll be back, we'll practice and you'll take the test tomorrow. It's not a big deal. And I was 16 and he dropped me off at school. And back then, of course, there's no cell phones. And then I'm waiting for him and waiting for him and waiting for him. And I was just about to go inside the school and call my mom or call him or call somebody. And then I see my brother pulling up with my first cousin, Bobby's brother, David, my first cousin. We all kind of grew up like siblings anyhow, but and my brother yells, get in the car. I'm like, I'm waiting for dad. What are you doing here? I mean, I'm 16, he's 22. Like, what is he doing here? And he goes, just get in the car. You got to get in the car right now. So I get in the car and he turns around and he says, I'm your dad now. And I said, what do you mean you're my dad now? And then he proceeded to tell me that my dad died of suicide. So he dropped me off at school and then he died of suicide. And I was the last person to see him. So because of that, I think I've emotionally stopped maybe mentally, I don't know, growing at 16, I'm a little girl inside sometimes. I feel I have abandonment issues, which I've tried really hard to get over.
Mhm.
But they're there. And yeah, I mean, it's hard. And so when this happened on the show, of course, I have those triggers. Like someone's going to leave me again.
Mhm.
All
Mhm.
that stuff it's really tough.
Yeah. And first of all, our show is a safe space to get emotional. So
Mhm.
Well, there I just did.
And we're all about that.
I know.
yeah.
Well, the
Um,
minute that Eden talked to me on the phone and said something about my dad, I mean, we did it on the phone, so she didn't see, but I was like,
Mhm.
started to cry. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I just like because I just got the age 16 and something around dad, and then that's when
Yeah.
it came out. Yeah. Um, and I don't even remember what was I gonna say. Uh
In the reading, you were
in the
talking about like
reading.
different things that may be triggered from the show.
Yeah, I think oh, this is it. Because although all of that happened for you, I'm sure, there's always lessons and learning experience and helping you grow in so many ways, no matter how old we are, we're always still growing. Um, you were so eloquent at
Mhm.
the AFTR after the final rose. And when you spoke to Gary, I was blown away. And I remember watching it, and we were not connected yet at all. And I felt like I need to talk to Leslie. I
You
just
manifested it too.
I felt you so much, and I wanted to just like talk to you. And not necessarily like help you, but of course I would love to help you like I got to, but I just like felt like I wanted to give you a hug or something. So one of these days we're going to meet in person. We will do that. Um, but it
We'll
just
go. We'll all go out with Vicky.
yeah. Um, you just
Everybody I run into wants to hug me, which was
yeah,
predicted by one of the
yeah,
producers. But um,
Wow.
and it's true. I'm like I'm in Trader Joe's and some woman started crying when she saw me. She
yeah,
was like, I have to hug you.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh.
I mean, it happens a lot. So
Your
you know,
your story affected so many people in a
Mhm.
positive way.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
mean, whether it's been being, cheated on with a spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever, or having someone in your family die. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of women my age have lost their parents. I unfortunately lost my dad when I was 16 and my mom at 25. So that my brother was it for me. He like it's when I think girls need their dads, and I needed my dad, but I had my brother, and for that he is the most special person in my life because he really got me through life and still does. If I ever have a
That's
problem
beautiful.
or something, I call him. We talk every day. So um I was lucky. I was really fortunate that I had that.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I see the most, and it was interesting because it was actually a client I had just before this, and we were talking about vulnerability and pride, and the difference, and letting out vulnerable stuff to other people, and not seeming to be perfect. And I used Oprah as an example. I said, well, Oprah lets out that she had, really traumatic things happen, and she had horrible menopause, and everyone loves her even more because she's vulnerable and no one looks down on her. And the girl was like, yeah, you know what? That's true. And that's what it makes me think about you, is that you had you have, but on the show, you had such a great balance of strength, but also extreme vulnerability. That's why people related to you so much. And women are like, oh my gosh, she can do it. I can do it too. I have permission now to be more vulnerable because I saw somebody else do that. And
Yeah.
so I think that's one of the higher reasons you did the show, because it really is like so profound.
Yeah, I thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't know that was going to happen, obviously. I mean, I was really, and I said that, at the finale, I said I was just really unapologetically myself. Like I didn't really think about the things I was going to say. I mean, half the time I'm sure they had to edit a lot of things I said because I like to joke around. I like to make jokes. And then sometimes I just say things just to make people laugh. And they're like, okay, we got to do that take again, or something. But it's just, I was just really myself. And I always have been. And I don't know how to be any other way. Like all my friends before I went on the show, just remember, be yourself. Be yourself. I'm like, well, how else would I be? I don't know how to do anything else, but
Right.
yeah. So yeah, I really think the experience on the show has helped me a lot. It's really, I mean, I've always appreciated my friends. I love my friends so much, but it's funny. I made such good friends with these women on the show, but I really miss my girlfriends here in Minneapolis and in LA. I have a lot of good friends in LA. So, but then I'm like, then when I came home, I'm like really missing my girlfriends from the show. So it was like, I just want all my girlfriends with me all the time.
Yeah.
Well, it's like summer camp.
Yeah. How important, our relationships are with women. They really are.
Yeah.
Who are you closest to from the show?
I was going to ask that.
I would have to say Susan and Kathy. I talk to Kathy a few times a week, sometimes. And Sandra, Ellen. I mean, I was really good friends with Joan, and then she had to leave, but they just kind of all got together out east last weekend, and I really wanted to go, but I just couldn't leave work, and I have to work, and yeah, and so, but I was there in spirit with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so awesome that you really do make close friends from this.
Yeah,
That's
I
powerful.
love. I mean, we have a bond that like my friends here are never going to understand, and they would never try to, but we do have a bond, and I like I'm playing mahjong tonight with all my girlfriends that I grew up with from kindergarten. So nobody like my friends on the show, like these friends are my sisters,
Yeah.
Think about it. It's 60, 3 years or fourth, whatever, 60.
Which you look like you're like 40, so
Yeah.
It's blurriness behind me.
Good lighting.
I think it's all your fitness that you do.
Yeah, I work out a lot. Yeah, that's true.
We're gonna go fast forward to the wedding, the Teresa and Gary's wedding. There was a moment, and I don't know if anyone's ever brought this up to you. There was a moment after they got married, they're walking back down the aisle, and the camera shows Gary looking at you.
Really? I didn't notice that.
Oh, okay. Maybe
now,
I'm completely
remember,
wrong.
It's editing.
I know.
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at that.
So what it looks like is that he gives you a look, and you guys meet eyes. And I remember seeing like social media talking about that moment. And they're saying like, see, Leslie's so upset. And, and I know you came back you had just gotten out of the hospital.
Yeah.
Because you had major surgery.
Yeah.
On your birthday.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were like in recovery, but how was that? How did it feel sitting in, at the wedding and going through that?
Again, a lot of time has passed. People sometimes when they watch that, they think that we just left Costa Rica or something, but a lot of time had passed, and I processed it. And then when I processed it, I realized that Gary and Teresa were probably a better match for a host of reasons. I know that they had, the spouse was dying. That brought them close together, and I can totally understand that. It bothered me when people said, "Oh, I've been divorced, I'm damaged," and like, I didn't want to ever be divorced. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to get married to get divorced. I mean, I wanted to be married forever. That's all I wanted, was to be a wife and a mother. So that, you know, people don't know, you know,
Yeah.
but I don't remember him looking at me like that. So it could have been an edit, but
Yeah.
I was okay. I was fine. I mean, was it a little uncomfortable? I can say the only time it may have been uncomfortable for me, or just a little, was like when they talked about doing their vows during Costa Rica. It's like, because, you know, I was also there, and I was there thinking I was going to be at the
Yeah.
one. So, but you know, I mean, again, I love Teresa. We were very close in the house. I only want good things for everybody. At the end of the day, everyone deserves to be loved. Everyone deserves love. And they found it, and I'm happy for them. I really am. I mean, I'm not angry with Gary anymore. You know, in fact, there was a brunch the next morning, and I went up to him. I said, I know at the finale, I said, I don't accept your apology, that I understood it, but I don't accept it. But you know what, Gary, I want to accept your apology right now. And
Oh, chills.
I know.
and of course, in Gary fashion, he started to cry. I said, don't cry.
Yeah.
Don't cry. He's got married. Don't cry, you know. So we hugged it out, and you know, it's all good.
That's
But
powerful.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted him to know that I'm not that girl. But at that point, that day, that night, I just, it was hard. You know, I
Yeah.
Right,
just
you're
to
human.
break up with me, and
Yeah.
you know, so yeah.
Wow. Thanks
So
for
do
sharing
you,
that. That's special. Yeah. What would you say, Kim?
I was just going to ask one. We want to move on to something else, but
Yeah.
this is the last one for related to the Golden Bachelor. Like, what is it like now? Do you feel like a celebrity? Like, 'cause I know you weren't looking for that, but it kind of became that.
Yeah.
So, what does that feel like? And then, what do you see? Like, do you see yourself doing any more media in the future?
You know what? First of all, I've lived in Minneapolis my whole life. You know, some of these women, you know, I don't know if they live in the town that they were born in, you know, and I say that Minneapolis is a big, small town, or small, big town, or whatever. Everybody kind of knows each other in a way. I've taught I've taught for many years. I've had thousands of people come to my classes, you know, throughout the years. I'm not saying I was a celebrity before, but you know, people knew me. And you know, then I was married to David, who's a kind of a famous chef here in Minneapolis. So people know. But since the show, I can honestly say I don't know how people aren't sick of seeing my face in the paper, on magazines. I'm like, oh my God, another one. You know, I was just on the cover. I am on the cover this month of Minneapolis St. Paul magazine, which, you know, is in every grocery store, every doctor's office,
Oh, wow.
you know, everywhere. And so, and I hate the picture. I'm so mad about the picture. I don't, but next, I note to self, I learned something. Have the last final say in anything that is out in print. But I didn't, because I just, whatever, it doesn't matter. But so yes, I am stopped constantly. People want to take selfies with me. The funniest thing was, I went to Madonna the other night, and I was in a suite I work at the Fillmore, which is a music venue owned by Live Nation. And so I was in a suite with the Live Nation people. But of course, in true Madonna form, she doesn't go on right when she's supposed to.
Yep.
So then my friend and I and Bobby and Vicky were there, not in our suite, but then we text them like, let's meet at the bar, whatever, because we have 45 minutes. So I go out there. I have to say, there were people lined up to take selfies with me.
Oh, wow.
And
At Madonna. That's so cool.
That happens a lot. Happens when I work at the Fillmore all the time. I'm like, didn't you just pay $75 to see the act that's on the stage right now? Why do you want my picture? But
That's awesome.
yeah, so it is definitely more prevalent. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it happens in airports. It happens at
Wow.
Costa Rica. I just came back. Everybody at the hotel knew I was there. People were coming up to me. I had a hat. My hair was wet. I was in a bathing suit, and
Oh my
still
God.
recognized me.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, not Costa Ricans, but Americans that are there. So
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, I mean, it was crazy. My friends, like other people on the retreat were like, oh my God, hear it again. I was on a catamaran and everyone on the catamaran's like, oh my God, it's Leslie. They're taking pictures.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't mind it. And I would love to do more things. I mean, I feel very comfortable in front of the camera and we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever
Yeah,
comes.
I could see you helping teach women how to be themselves.
Yeah.
To be
And
unapologetically themselves.
yeah, I am doing some kind of a talk on something like that coming up.
Oh,
Someone
good. That's
hired
awesome.
me to, just talk in front of women, not really
Mhm.
about the show, but about it's like an empowerment women type thing. So
Oh, good. Oh, yeah. That's what we're all
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
So we wanted to just say give a little bit of, I don't know, a little shout out. But you have been connected to Prince, and our show, as I've told you, is kind of a, I don't know, it's not a
Prince
Prince.
creation.
Yeah. We talk about Prince
Fired.
sometimes. So you dated him, and I know you said that in the first episode of Golden Bachelor. And so he wrote the song "Sexy Dancer" about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that song.
Really? Because it's only got 5 words, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it has that like
No, I
70s
mean, it's a
disco
great
feel.
dance song. That was probably his first like kind of dance, EDM-ish kind of song, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's weird. I probably am going to get in trouble for saying this, so I won't give names, but I've met with some other Prince people,
Mhm.
ladies who dated him, and
There's a
they
lot.
they told me the same thing,
What did they
say?
tell you?
that he wrote that song for them.
Ah, yes.
Okay, well, that's not true because
I believe you. I
I
no,
believe
believe
you.
you
you
too.
Yeah.
well, first of all, Bobby was there when he said it.
Yeah.
Cousin was his drummer
You
and
have proof.
saw me dancing in a fashion show. And we were 18 and he wrote the song when he was 18. So after me, there's a lot of songs written for a lot of girls in
True.
Prince land. I know that song was written for me because he saw me dance in a fashion show and he said, "You're a sexy dancer. I'm going to write a song about you." And
Mm.
Bobby heard it. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
you're a dancer.
I'm not speculating because I never speculate on anything.
Yeah.
I know that song was for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. I believe you. I completely 100% believe you. And I believe that the others who said it believe that too. But
well, I mean, were they with him when he was 18? I don't know.
no,
Right.
no. I think
Right.
you're the
He
one
wrote it.
that's
We were
right. Yeah.
18 years old. We met through Bobby and we were same exact age and we were 18 and then I was a professional figure skater in the ice volleys and then I went into the ice volleys and we would write letters back and forth, back and forth. And then he kind of started to become a little famous and I was at the Forum skating in the show and he picked me up in a limo, drove right up the ramp. And all my girlfriends, even to this day from the ice volleys, are like, I just can't, I'll never forget that.
Oh.
Driving up the ramp in that limo and then sending me letters all the time. And we'd sit
Wow.
around, we talk about the letter. I'd read the letters because they were very explicit, not gonna lie. And this Prince. And it was almost like story time, here we got another letter. Yeah, I mean, we were young, we were very young, but he wrote that song when he was
Yeah.
young. And I was the
Yeah.
only girl at 18 that he was, but
Well,
That's such a cool, it's just a cool thing to have experienced. Like,
yeah.
because
he was great. I mean, I adored him. I really did. He was awesome. He's very funny and he's obviously uber talented and he loved my cousin and Bobby loved him and they were very close. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Did you keep in touch with him or see him throughout the years after that?
I did only because, I'd go and see Bob. I mean, I kind of stood him up. Well, but I got married to the person I stood him up for. So Brad,
Oh,
yeah, my first husband, Brad and Bobby were best friends as well. It's very, very in small town Minneapolis, I told you. Anyways, so, we'd go hear him at Paisley Park at 2 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, I see him at clubs. Yeah, we'd always give a hug and, I mean, no hard feelings. He went on to have a million girlfriends,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting all these chills while she's talking about him.
A lot of people didn't believe me. I know that. I read those comments, but
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure she did, or sure he did. But I'm going to tell you something about me. I may be this, that. I am not a liar. There's
Mhm.
not a lying bone in my body. My kids will tell you I'm honest to a fault. Lying is my pet peeve, so I would never lie about that.
I feel the same way about lying.
Yeah.
But people can't say you're lying just because the obvious is that you are cousins with Bobby, his drummer.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people didn't know that because I didn't
right,
say,
right.
oh like a lot of people that out there in social media land, they didn't know that Bobby Z was my cousin.
Yeah.
All they'd have to do is go on my Facebook and scroll down and see a picture of us together or something.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
no, I don't shout it from the rooftop. Bobby Z's my cousin. And so I just, I know that, a lot of people didn't know that, but still, even so, everybody in Minneapolis has a Prince story and is connected, not,
Yeah.
just somehow everyone's connected to Prince.
Yes.
Oh, this person,
It's so true.
I mean,
I've been to Minneapolis 3 times, and all 3 times, like everywhere I go, there's like in the Uber driver, everywhere somebody's talking about Prince, like everywhere you go.
some guy bartender, some guy waited on him, some guy brought,
Yeah.
his food up to this room. Like it's whatever,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. But I happen to have a huge connection. I mean, and
Right.
my brother was his personal valet for 12 years.
Well,
Wow.
we believe you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Eden.
absolutely.
You are the sexy dancer.
Yeah, now I'll forever think of you during that song. I love it. Well, so now I would love to know more about, we want to know about your retreats and the spiritual work you do and the fitness work you do for the people out there in case they're interested or how they can find you.
Oh, thank you. Basically, I just do my retreats. I've done them now for 7 years, and it's 1 or 2 times a year. And we go to different places. I have gone to Costa Rica now 3 years in a row, and now I'm going again in April because I had a waiting list, and so now I'm taking like the annex group, and basically it's fitness, it's food, it's fun. People can, have their own experience. They can have group experience. Some people choose to be sometimes alone. Some people don't want to be alone. But we have group things we do. We go zip lining and horseback riding and ATVing, and we go on a catamaran, and we have dinners together. And I teach about an hour and a half class every morning, and then sometimes in the afternoon I'll do a water class. And it's just a really great, for me, the most amazing thing that I'm a connector, like I connect people, and I always have been like that. But on these retreats, when I see people form lifelong bonds, which I did for sure this last one. I mean, there were some young girls on the retreat, and they're friends forever. And
Yeah.
and me even, like, I just some of these people I just love so much, and it just really warms my heart. It makes me feel so happy that I can do that for people. I'm not like a yogi. I'm not like spiritual. I don't teach yoga. I don't pretend to. I don't do that. I teach bar, Pilates, all that stuff. But my spirituality with these retreats come from the connections, and it makes me so happy and proud, almost like, a proud mama kind of thing. And,
Mhm.
we just, people, when I see people having fun together, it just makes me happy.
Totally.
Well, you
Oh, and by the way, you can find it on, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
It's on my Instagram. I have like a Hoobie link, and I always put what I'm doing there, and it takes you to like my YouTube channel, which is completely free. I have exercise classes on there, dance, bar stuff. So, people are like, you don't charge enough, or you don't, I'm like, I just want people to like get into fitness, and, if they want more, they'll ask me for more, So it's not, for me, it's not about, obviously I need to make a living, but it's more about just really getting people aware. That's all.
Mm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Beautiful that you do that.
Thank you for listening to Talk Purpose and Truth podcast. Find out more at talkpurposeandtruth.com. And follow us at Talk Purpose Truth on Instagram and Facebook.